So when we ran out of allocating new addresses, and folk needed addresses because the plan was we're all running v6, the reality is we're not. So if you have a new thing, something you want to connect, a new business, whatever, you need v4 addresses. And if the registries can't give you it, and they can't, then you have to look around to say, well, who's willing to sell? This is very typical. So the result of that is that transfers are now part of the reality of today's internet. And the real issue with transfers is, are we able to maintain the completeness and the accuracy of the address registry system? And are these transfers being registered? Now, why is that important? Because if you and I, or you, advertise the same address into the internet doesn't know what to do. Some of the packets will go to you, some to me, some to you. Now, we can take advantage of this. Anycast does. But if you and I aren't doing the same thing and we're completely separate people, this is chaos. We can't all overuse addresses in that way. How do we stop that use? Well, the registry system says this address, 203.10.60.0/24, belongs to me, and that this other address belongs to you. So we all implicitly rely on a cohesive registry to make sure we understand that addresses are uniquely assigned to players. If the transfer market is not completing registry, then we have the elements of chaos. And so one of the things I was looking at inside this was actually looking through the stats of transfers versus the routing system. So last year we saw a whole bunch of new addresses being routed. They're new. They weren't there at the start of the year, but they're there at the end. Did we allocate them? Very few. Where did they come from? Well, the theory goes they should come from the transfer logs. They should have been registered as, well, they moved and they got advertised. What we actually find is that that doesn't encompass more than about 30% of these new addresses. And the other 70% appeared without an understanding in the registry system of why they appeared. And so a real challenge these days is to make sure that transfers are cleanly accommodated in the registry. Why? Because irrespective of how addresses moved, they're only of use, and indeed the internet only works, as long as addresses are unique. And that underpinning of uniqueness is actually the registry system that we have. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of looking at this panel. I don't care about pricing of addresses. Folk do, and legitimately so. But that's not registry business. What registry business is have we accurately snapshot who has which address right here, right now? If we can hand on heart say we've done that, we're doing a great job. If we can't say that, then we should understand why we're unable to make that claim and try and fix it. Because our responsibility to the internet itself is to make sure that address registry is indeed an accurate and complete registry.